If you haven't signed up for our expert picks, I don't know what you're doing. It was another huge weekend of college football, guys, and a very huge weekend for us here at the Gridiron Expert as we hit over 92% on the money line, 24-2 this weekend. It hit 90% of our expert picks, guys, bringing our total to 53-30 on the year, practically 64% against the spread. Guys, we are beating out over 80% of the national analysts and handicappers, and we're offering you these picks for one of the lowest prices in the country. Check it out. The link down in the description below over on thegridironexpert.com. I mean, guys, 9-1, are you kidding me? 90%, 92% on the money line, 82.4% on the money line throughout the course of this season. Unbelievable weekend for us here, and we want you to take advantage of those winnings. If you want guaranteed winnings, if you want some of the best picks in the country for each of the last 4 years running, we beat out over 80% of the analysts and handicappers each of the last 4 years. This is the place for you. If you want to win, the Gridiron Expert is the place for you, and the link for that is down in the description over on thegridironexpert.com. Sign up today so you don't miss out on another big weekend coming up in week 9. 9-1, guys. Unbelievable. Big time winnings only here at the Gridiron Expert. But we are ready to welcome you back, guys, for another college football recap. What a weekend it was. You know, we've had weeks of insanity these last few weeks, guys. We've had big ranked versus ranked showdowns. We've had so much coming on. Week 8 felt a little more chill. Week 8 felt a little more chill. We had 5 ranked versus ranked matchups. So granted, 5 ranked teams lost. 1 team was upset in the top 10 to an unranked team. We'll talk about that soon. But overall, guys, it was a relatively calm weekend of college football for the most part. We're ready to dive into it right now. And let's go ahead and start with the first big one. Number 5, Clemson, taking on number 14, Syracuse, and surviving the Orange 27-21. And guys, I will say this was a bit of a controversial ending, some would say, right? Syracuse was winning this game 21-10 in the fourth quarter. Everything was going the Orange's way. 21-10 in the fourth quarter, had a 90-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. They forced 4 turnovers on Clemson. They forced DJ Uiagalelei to get benched, but that ended up being the spark that Clemson needed. Yes, Cade Klubnik didn't do much through the air, really didn't provide much of a spark offensively, but he was more consistent and really just came in to stabilize what had been an erratic offense throughout the day under DJ Uiagalelei. Cade Klubnik was also the guy that drew that big 15-yard penalty that extended the Clemson drive and allowed them to cut the lead into the 21-16. That's where it got controversial because on the ensuing Syracuse drive, Syracuse had the ball, still up 21-16. And it looked like a very similar play where the Clemson defenders gave Garrett Schrader a little bit of an extra shove as he was getting out of bounds. It should have been a 15-yard penalty on Clemson, extending the Syracuse drive, and who knows what could have happened there. Because after Syracuse punted the ball away, Clemson took the lead after a Will Shipley 50-yard touchdown. So Cade Klubnik gets the benefit of the doubt, gets that 15-yard penalty, allows Clemson to keep the drive alive, ends up scoring from it. Syracuse, in a very similar play, the flag is not thrown on Clemson. Syracuse has to give the ball back. Clemson takes the lead. Many people are going to be talking about that play for a long time. But regardless, guys, you have to give your credit to Clemson. Yes, that was a controversial play. Yes, could have determined the outcome of the game. But the Tigers still had 17 fourth quarter points. The Tigers defense still shut out Syracuse in the second half, did not allow a single point from the Orange in the second half. And again, you have to give them credit. They ended up having the interception with 17 seconds left. Syracuse and Garrett Schrader got down to the Clemson 30-yard line. The interception was thrown at the 15-yard line. So Clemson's defense did their part. Controversial calls, yes. But Clemson did their part, still battled back, down 17, overcame the adversity. While they did not look like a top 4 team, and while Cade Klubnik might be the answer at quarterback, despite Dabo Swinney saying that DJ Uiagalelei was going to remain the starter, Clemson, at the end of the day, I believe, deserved to win this game. But all the credit in the world to the Orange for giving them everything they had. The Orange, to me, still a top 15 caliber team. But Clemson surviving in the really the big marquee matchup in the morning. The majority of the games, big ones at least, coming in the afternoon. That one starts with LSU. LSU, we've got our helmet up there. We're representing the Tigers. They took down number 7, Ole Miss, 45-20. Yeah, that was one of our picks up here, guys. We went a perfect 5-0 in all the ranked versus ranked matchups. We also correctly predicted LSU's big-time victory over Ole Miss. I'll tell you this, guys. Ole Miss was never top 10 material to begin with. They never were. Ole Miss, the Rebels were in there at number 7. I will say in our Gridiron Expert top 25s, we never had Ole Miss in the top 10 at any point this season. The Rebels never cracked the top 10. Why? Because they didn't deserve it. The Rebels entered the game at 7-0, but they only had 2 victories over teams that were currently above 500. One of those was Troy. 2 victories over teams with a record above 500. One of them was Troy. The other was Kentucky. The Rebels were beating the Tigers 17-3 in Death Valley, and then they were outscored 42-3 the rest of the game. The Rebels defense allowed 500 yards and 252 rushing yards. Jaden Daniels, the quarterback for the Tigers, people were scrutinizing, criticizing him early in the year. Yeah, he had 369 total yards and 5 total touchdowns in this game. LSU is starting to click. They're starting to look dangerous. And in a couple of weeks, guys, when they take on Alabama in Death Valley, that game could be a lot closer than we originally thought maybe just a few weeks ago. Ole Miss, quite a bit overrated in my opinion. LSU getting their first signature victory under Brian Kelly. The Tigers should be taken for real in the SEC West. How about we move out west? Number 10, Oregon. Big-time statement victory over number 9, UCLA, 45-30. This was the big game, guys. This was the game of the week, a game that we, again, correctly predicted. When you look at this game, guys, Oregon and UCLA, this was not only a game that had Pac-12 title implications, but potential playoff implications. UCLA was the last unbeaten Pac-12 team. A lot of people very high on the Bruins heading into this game. And the game for me changed in the second quarter. That is when Oregon won this game, when Dan Lanning pulled off an unbelievable call, kicking an onside kick with 10:49 left in the second quarter. Oregon had just scored a touchdown to take a 17-10 lead, and it looked like this was going to be a battle as the Ducks and Bruins were just going to trade scores back and forth. And Dan Lanning said, "No, I want the ball back." Kicked an onside, Oregon recovered. Marched right back down the field, scored another touchdown, got up 24-10, and it felt like in that moment, everything, all the life and momentum that UCLA may have had was sucked out of them. Just felt like it was gone. They crumbled, they collapsed. Oregon was up 31-13 at halftime, won 45-30 when it's all said and done. Give credit to Bo Nix, guys. 22 for 28, 283 yards, 5 total touchdowns. 5 touchdowns. Unbelievable performance from Bo Nix. Unbelievable performance from Oregon as they had 545 total yards against the Bruins. UCLA is still a very good team, guys. But we felt that the Oregon Ducks were just a tad bit better, especially at home. And the Ducks proved it with not just a minor victory over UCLA, a dominant, convincing victory over UCLA. And the Ducks proving that they are the team to beat in the Pac-12. No doubt about it. Oregon, it's looking very, very dangerous. Everybody wrote them off after their bad loss to Georgia all the way back in week 1. That is long gone. That is long an afterthought. Watch out for the Ducks and the Pac-12. They might be the Pac-12's best college football playoff hopes when it's all said and done. How about Big 12 action? Number 11, Oklahoma State, taking down number 20, Texas, 41-34. I could not believe that Oklahoma State was an underdog coming into this game. I know there was questions about whether or not Spencer Sanders was going to play or not. We had a feeling he would, and he did, and he delivered. Spencer Sanders, 391 yards and 2 touchdowns, led Oklahoma State to 17 unanswered points. They were down 34-24 in the third quarter. Oklahoma State scored the final 17 points, including the game-winning touchdown with 3:09 left. Unbelievable game, guys. Typically, when Oklahoma State and Texas face off against each other, it's an instant classic. Close one-possession game, instant thriller, and that's exactly what we had on Saturday. And, people were citing, Sanders possibly with the injury. Texas was the better team. Texas was going to light up Oklahoma State's secondary. The wind was going to play a major factor. Some of those things did, but we still had a lot of faith in Oklahoma State in Stillwater. And let me tell you something. That Oklahoma State secondary, they're still not great. They were 126th in the nation coming into that game, giving up over 300 passing yards per game. They gave up over 300 yards to Quinn Ewers in Texas. But Quinn Ewers was not himself on Saturday. 19 for 49 and 3 interceptions. That Cowboys secondary came in, showed up, ready to play. They were the difference maker in this game. That and their pass rush came through clutch and helped lead the comeback behind Spencer Sanders once again, having another unbelievable performance and what has been, in a way, a bounce-back year for him after so many turnovers last year in their near playoff run. Oklahoma State, guys, keeps their Big 12 title hopes and possible playoff hopes alive with a thrilling victory over Texas in a game that, again, we felt very confident about and was one of our big wins here on the Expert Picks. Real quick, number 6, Alabama gets their bounce-back win over number 24, Mississippi State. That was an easy one. Felt very confident in Alabama. Another cover for us here at the Gridiron Expert. Expert picks down in the description below. They beat the Bulldogs 30-6. We're leading 24-0 at half. But the funny thing about this game, guys, is that, Mississippi State was held to 231 passing yards. Air raid offense held to 231 passing yards. Will Rogers, 30 for 60, completed 50% of his passes, 60 pass attempts, though. But Bama, guys, they were outgained on the ground, and they were outgained overall. Mississippi State just couldn't convert. They had a turnover on downs at the Bama 15. They had a missed field goal. They had a turnover on downs on their own 29 and a turnover on downs at the Bama 31. So many opportunities for Mississippi State to get points or maybe extend drives, and they were unable to. Now, I'm not saying they would have won the game had they done that, but the turnover on downs at Bama 15, Bama turned that into a touchdown. The missed field goal, Bama turned it into a touchdown. The turnover on downs at their own 29 turned into a Bama touchdown. That's 21 points right there in a 24-point loss. Could have been a lot closer. Mississippi State is unable to finish, but Bama, a much-needed bounce-back victory, now going into a much-needed bye week in preparation for that big LSU game that we just mentioned here in a few weeks. And then finally, guys, let's give credit to TCU. The Horned Frogs might be the team to beat in the Big 12. Not Oklahoma State, but TCU beating number 17 Kansas State 38-28, scoring 28 unanswered points. What a game by Max Duggan, Sonny Dykes, and really this TCU defense for stepping up, guys. TCU was down 28-10 late in the second quarter. 28-10 late in the second quarter. Then they scored 28 unanswered. Kansas State never scored again. The Horned Frogs now have 4 straight victories over ranked opponents. And there's a lot to break down in this game, guys. Obviously, give credit to the TCU offense. 495 yards, 215 rushing yards against what was one of the better rushing defenses within the Big 12 in Kansas State. Wildcats just did not have an answer for them offensively. They also held Kansas State, guys. TCU did. Held the Wildcats to 158 rushing yards. One of the best rushing teams in the Big 12, averaging over 240 rushing yards per game. TCU held them to 158. Now, yes, we do know that Kansas State battled a lot of injuries in this game. They lost Adrian Martinez early in this game. So when you lose your star dual threat quarterback in the game, obviously puts a hamper on your offense quite a bit. Will Howard comes in, tries to do the best he can. He gets hurt later on in the game. And then you have Jake Rubley coming in. He throws an interception in his lone pass attempt. So many injuries to the quarterbacks for Kansas State that I think helped lead to the TCU comeback. But regardless, Howard's an experienced quarterback. He's had plenty of playing experience before. Still came in there and had 2 touchdowns and 225 yards. So you can't put the sole blame on him. And to me, it actually gave Kansas State more of a more dynamic offense. Howard was a guy that could actually throw the ball. Martinez really wasn't much of a threat there. But TCU was able to crack down, stop the run, force the turnovers when they needed to, score 28 unanswered points. Whoever you do that against, regardless of the opponent, is extremely tough to do. But against a solid defense like Kansas State, that's extremely impressive. The Horned Frogs guys are now the lone undefeated team in the Big 12. They look like they're set to make the Big 12 championship game, and they very well could be the Big 12's best chance to make the college football playoff. And man, let me tell you what, if we are on a crash course for a rematch between TCU and Oklahoma State with a potential playoff berth on the line, get your popcorn ready, because that is going to be a thriller. So guys, there you have it. What a weekend of college football. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better one. We've had so much insanity. This was one where you can kind of kick back, relax, and kind of enjoy the action without too much chaos going on. Still, a lot of great matchups. 5 ranked versus ranked matchups. The major LSU upset over Ole Miss. Again, correctly predicting every single one of those. Again, the expert picks guys are down in the description below. Go check them out over on thegridironexpert.com. Sign up for those today. You're not going to regret it. Guaranteed winners, just like we produced this weekend. 24-2 on the money line, 9-1 against the spread. You're not going to find them anywhere better. We're beating out over 80% of the analysts. You're not going to find anyone any better. You're not going to find better analysis, better transparency, better prices. This is the place for you if you want to win and if you love college football. What a weekend, guys. What a weekend. What a weekend. Full of winners, full of fun. Now let's get ready for week 9. And we're going to kick it off later today with our Gridiron Expert Top 25. Make sure you stay tuned for that. But until then, guys, thank Thank you so much for watching. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks over on thegridironexpert.com. You do not want to miss out on that again. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.